if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gon' tell me it's luck again. See that I'm winning, it's harder to watch. I'm setting the stage, you should give me my props. You ain't got no soul, you lacking the spirit. You talk out your neck, I'ma show you I'm with it.
Before we get started in today's video, if you could do me a huge favor and like this video, followed by leave a comment down below. It could be anything you want, just keep it PG. By doing these two things, it'll ensure this video gets pushed to more people since YouTube is being extremely aggressive with the algorithm. This is the Galaxy Z Flip 3, as you guys probably already know. But it's not just a foldable phone. It's Samsung's most affordable foldable phone to date. So the success of this phone is really important since it's going to set a precedent moving forward, not just for Samsung, but other companies trying to get into the foldable market, since now it's more obtainable than ever given its price point, and it's more suitable for the average consumer. Now don't get me wrong, $1,000 for a phone is still really expensive, but it puts it in line with other flagships like the Galaxy S21 Plus or the iPhone 13 Pro. Since this is technically the third generation Z Flip, if we're including the Z Flip 5G, you might be wondering, is it time for you to consider a foldable phone like the Z Flip? Well, let's talk about it. The design of the Z Flip 3 is probably the most important aspect of this phone. I mean, it's a regular phone that folds. But the truth is, if there's no benefit to that folding design, then why not buy a regular phone? Right? Cool. So then what's the benefit of this phone? Well, unlike the Z Fold, the Z Flip doesn't fold out to a mini tablet-sized display. Instead, it's meant for people that want something compact in the pocket, but when they need it, folds out to a regular-sized phone. So think portability and compactness. And I like that, especially since phone screens are getting larger anyways. From a practicality perspective, I guess the Z Fold would be a little bit more functional, but the Z Flip isn't made for that purpose. It's made for the average user. And by average, I don't mean the person that thrives off of using an S Pen or fitting 3 apps at the same time on their screen. I'm talking about the person that uses their phone for browsing the web, answering emails, text messages, maybe going on social media and playing the occasional game of Candy Crush or Pokemon Go. And for those people, I think this folding or flipping concept is perfect. But the design of this phone isn't just functional, it's also really stylish, which plays into that average user theme I keep talking about. The cream color that I have here is one of the best looking options in my opinion, but there are other colors to choose from. I do wish the backside was matte like the Z Fold, but a simple case or a skin can fix this issue. One of the biggest reasons I was against recommending a foldable phone in the past is durability. It's not that they're built badly, it's actually the opposite because the process is quite intricate. It's just there's so many open and delicate parts in a foldable phone that things can easily get inside and ruin the phone. Things like water. My delayed ass cameraman. My Z Flip 3 has held up great, and this is in part due to how I treat my phones, but also the fact that it now has an IPX8 rating, making it water or splash resistant. Plus, the display is more durable and it has an even stronger hinge. I put the water resistance to the test when I was caught in a downpour at Disney Springs. The hinge and display have also stood up to pocket lint, sand, and the constant opening and closing of the main display. Overall, I think the design updates, including the extra durability, are solid. Not only have the displays become more resilient, but they've also improved in quality. For starters, the cover display has grown up and it's much bigger than the Z Flip 1 or the Z Flip 5G. This means that it can show notifications in full, so you can easily scroll through these notifications, and it acts better as a viewfinder for your camera versus the tiny one on the Z Flip 5G or the Z Flip 1, which sometimes activates and sometimes doesn't. But as you can see, you can barely see anything on this display, and it doesn't have all the widgets that the Z Flip 3 offers. So you have your notifications here, and if we swipe back over, we have all of our widgets, which is way more useful than this one. And for those of you that are asking how to get rid of this message, so if you tap on a notification and it says open the phone and check the notification panel for details, or you can select open app and then open the phone. Unfortunately, it all comes down to app support, and Facebook right now does not support the cover display. But as you can see, if I tap on Instagram, you can see there is my notification. So it just depends on the app. There's no real way to get around it. If I have to critique the cover display and give a little bit of constructive criticism, I would like to see a brighter cover display in future iterations, as well as maybe a slightly higher resolution. but honestly, that's just me nitpicking. The inside display is really nice. It's not Quad HD Plus, but the full HD Plus resolution is nice and sharp. It's an AMOLED display, so you can expect deep, dark, inky blacks, just like the Z Flip and the Z Flip 5G. But this one has a 120 Hz refresh rate, so everything is extremely fluid and smooth. This is gonna be great not only for content consumption, but also gaming. The only downside to this display is it does get pretty dim when outdoors if the phone starts to heat up. You'll just notice that the display just drops and it's really hard to make out anything on it. That's not to say that this phone has an overheating problem. It's just I'm in Florida and it gets really hot here, and under direct sunlight, this phone does dim quite a bit, especially if you're at like the beach or something like that. So even though the display doesn't have the highest resolution in the world, it's still a fantastic display to watch content on. And one of the things that adds to that experience is a good pair of stereo speakers, and the Z Flip 3 definitely has those. They support Dolby Atmos, they get plenty loud and have quite a bit of detail. Using the Z Flip 3 daily has been fun. It's a very capable device. The Snapdragon 888 paired with the 8 GB of RAM is plenty for basic day-to-day stuff, plus advanced things like multitasking and background app switching. I haven't noticed any performance-related glitches due to that 8 GB of RAM whenever running apps in split screen or multi-window, which is definitely a plus. Gaming is also great on the Z Flip 3. I've played numerous titles and haven't had any issues with overheating, RAM crashes, or drops in frame rates. It's something I highly recommend trying if you haven't tried it yet. All of this performance talk brings me to battery life, and one question I've gotten asked a ton is just how good is it? And this is a concern that a lot of people have, and rightfully so, because the Z Flip 3 has a 3,300 milliamp hour battery, which isn't the biggest. What I will say is it's nowhere near as bad as what some are making it out to be. And I'm not a huge numbers person. Like, I think that battery life is very subjective. It comes down to how long you spend on a cellular network versus how long you spend on Wi-Fi versus how many games you play per day, watching content. All of that stuff is a huge factor in your overall battery life performance. Reviewers, especially tech reviewers, tend to live on their phones a lot more than the average person. So of course their battery life is going to be atrocious compared to a normal person. I typically take my Z Flip 3 off the charger around 9 a.m. and by 6 p.m. I generally have around 30 to 40% remaining. This is after using maps, taking pictures, and browsing social media throughout the day. On average, I'm getting between 4.5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time, which will be fine for most of the people out there. I would say the worst part about the Z Flip 3 when it comes to the battery is its slow charging speeds, whether it's wired or wireless. It takes around an hour and a half to charge this phone from zero, which really isn't that bad compared to the Galaxy S21 Ultra, but the problem is the Z Flip 3 has a battery that is nearly 35% smaller. I understand Samsung is trying to be careful here because it's a foldable phone. They don't want it to overheat or even worse, combust, but it's still kind of bad considering we have phones that charge much faster than this. Samsung's software experience has come a long way, and in my opinion, it's one of the best experiences out there, especially now that we have the Google Explore page to the left of the home page. One UI is great, it's very fast, it's very fluid, it works wonderful on Samsung devices, plus Samsung's support for their software has gotten night and day better than it was years and years ago. Now, I've done several tips and tricks videos showcasing all of these amazing features and how to customize your phone, so make sure to click the card at the top if you missed any of those. But in short, One UI is fast, fluid, and it has a ton of customization features. Flex Mode is probably the most differential feature when compared to traditional non-folding smartphones. It brings enhanced functionality to supported apps. In some cases, it can be useful, while others are more of a gimmick. The camera takes advantage of Flex Mode and the foldable design best in my opinion, while something like the calendar is cool but not exactly the most useful application. For the camera, you can use the Z Flip on a tabletop like it was a tripod, and when combined with the auto framing feature, you can walk around and vlog. That's pretty cool. Speaking of the cameras, let's talk about the quality. Despite what you might have heard and the specs, the cameras on the Z Flip 3, the rear-facing cameras, are different than the cameras found on the Z Flip and the Z Flip 5G. The Z Flip and the Z Flip 5G use Samsung's own ISOCELL sensors, while the Z Flip 3 is taking advantage of Sony's new sensors. That's why the quality is very similar, but the Z Flip 3 might have a slight advantage. The images coming out of the Z Flip 3 are good. Are they the best? No. But Samsung's processing has gotten really good, and they're able to really extend the life out of these sensors and push them quite a bit. During the day, the Z Flip 3 can take excellent looking images. There's plenty of dynamic range and sharpness. Sometimes you do get the occasional photo where weird things are going on, but for the most part, it's a good camera experience. The same thing is applicable to video, including 4K 60 frames per second. During the day, it looks good, and I don't think anyone will be truly disappointed. When the lights go down, that's a different story. Photo-wise, the Flip 3 is pretty capable, especially with Samsung's night mode. Although the noise reduction is a bit finicky, sometimes it's overly aggressive, while other times it just doesn't do enough. It just depends on the scene. But again, for the most part, it's good. On the video side of things, it's very noisy. It's fine for capturing quick memories, an Instagram story, or something similar, but don't expect to have amazing or even good quality. It's average at best. Okay, so let's wrap this up. If you're thinking of upgrading to the Galaxy Z Flip 3, I think you'll be surprised at just how happy you'll be with this phone, given you're not a power user. If you're upgrading from the Z Flip or the Z Flip 5G, I think there's enough differences to justify that upgrade. This includes the larger cover display, the higher refresh rate on the main display, slightly better rear cameras, and of course the improved durability. Battery life could use some improvements, but overall, it's not as bad as what some make it out to be. If it can last me all day, then it should be able to last the average user even longer. If you're someone who enjoys having a compact phone that's easy to slip in and out of a pocket, backpack, purse, or coat, but also like a full-size phone experience for content consumption, then the Z Flip 3 is the absolute best option out there, in my humble opinion. The design is everything when it comes to this phone. Hopefully this video helped you make your decision about the Galaxy Z Flip 3. If you've already picked one of these up, let me know in the comments what your experience has been. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos just like this, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next video.